So today's topic is master the happiness mindset, how to go from binge eating to bliss. Well, I aim a high, right? But I do believe that we can go from binge eating to bliss. If you are listening on Voice America and you have any questions or comments for the show, you are welcome to call in. The number is 866-472-5792. And if you are on the Instagram live stream, feel free to drop a comment anytime. Okay, so have you ever thought anything like this? I'll be happy when I lose weight. Oh, when I stop binging, I'll be happy. I'll be good. My life will be great. I'll be happy when. It's that when then trap. I have heard this a zillion times. I'm not sure how many times a zillion is, but I have heard it a lot. When this happens, I will be happy. And the when is usually something tied to when I fit into that size, when I get to that scale, number on the scale. And the opposite is actually true. You will not be happy when you get to that number on the scale. When you are happy, it'll be a lot easier to lose weight and stop binging. So what is stopping you from feeling happy? What is happiness if it's not a number on the scale, by the way? Are you yearning for a deeper sense of fulfillment in your life? Is something missing from your life? Are you overwhelmed? Is there too much going on? Lack of happiness, no matter what is going on in your life, lack of happiness can lead to a feeling of emptiness, dissatisfaction. And that sense of being unfulfilled inside can feel like physical emptiness, which can lead to eating as a way of symbolically filling that void. So today I'm going to show you how to adopt a happiness mindset. But first, let's just discuss some misconceptions about happiness. What actually is it? And how do you define it for yourself? So a common misconception is that happiness is a permanent state, or it's like this end goal. I'm going to be happy. And then the idea is, and then I will stay happy. And a lot of us believe that when we achieve certain milestones, when we, land that dream job or find our soulmate or lose weight or stop binging or whatever it is that you're aiming for, that you will reach this lasting state of feeling good, of being happy. So you'll be happy when you stop binging and then you'll stay happy. And the reality, again, is when you get happy, you stop binging. Happiness is not a destination. It's just a stop along the journey of life. And it involves continuous effort to embrace happiness. And as we continue on our journey of life, right? Things happen. We can't not stay happy all the time. And we consciously know this. But we still have this sense of, oh, but I'll be happier. Life will be better. And you know why we have that sense of that? Because the diet industry sells us that idea. The $60 billion diet industry sells us the notion that if we just lose weight, we will be happy. So eat this, not that, do this, not that, and you will lose weight. And then voila, you will be happy. You will have the life that you want. And done. No, it doesn't work that way. So that is the first misconception. I am sorry to disabuse you of the idea that happiness is an end goal. It's a state that we have and hopefully have more than we have unhappiness, but it is not a state where we stay. And another misconception is the idea that happiness is the result of our external circumstances, our achievements, things that we do. I guess that is achievements, or like having a baby, getting married, getting divorced, kids out of the house, whatever it is that you think that you want that's going to make you happy, that can definitely influence our mood temporarily, but it doesn't lead to lasting happiness. Or I'll get the thing, right? I'll be happy when I have the house, or I'll be happy when I have the bigger house, or whatever it is. And then you know what? You have the house and you're like, I feel the same. I'm just in a bigger house. So it's really important to recognize that happiness is not based on what you have or what you have achieved. It is based on how you feel about you, how you feel about yourself, how you feel about your life. And also taking the time to really notice and savor. And isn't it interesting that I just said savor because that has to do with food too? Savor those moments in life that make you happy, that can be based on nothing but going outside and it's a glorious day and the flowers are blooming and it's just lovely and life is good. You haven't achieved anything. You're just being in the moment and it's just so lovely. You feel happy, even for those moments. Those moments count. Being with friends, connecting, all of those things make us happy. They boost our happiness levels. We think that it's external things or achievements, but it's not. And then there is compare and despair. Many years ago, Theodore Roosevelt said, "Comparison is the thief of joy." That's for sure. It is easy to fall into the trap of comparing your happiness to others or your life to others. And are they happier than you? Or they have it better than you? Whatever. And social media especially presents this curated, idealized version of what our lives are like or what other people's lives are like. A friend of mine who is somewhat prone to posting every moment of her life on social media. And oh my gosh, I really hope she is not listening right now because I am going to spill the tea about something that happened at her house. So she's always posting. And one day we're very good friends. And so she feels comfortable around us. And she and her husband, also a good friend of ours, they were bickering. They were the total Bickersons. It was so uncomfortable. Have you ever had that happen to you? It's like, oh my God, where do I look? You. Okay. So they're bickering about some stupid stuff. I don't even remember what it was about, but they're like, nah, 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 nah. And all of a sudden, she's like, oh my God, I have to post. So she brings out her phone and they both smile into the camera like, dude. And then she puts down the phone, posts it, puts down the phone. They start bickering again. And I just thought, what? People are going to look at your posts and they're going to think you have the most fabulous life with the most fabulous relationship. You never bicker. Oh, but in fact, that was not true. So when you compare your life, your real life, to what people post, it can definitely lead to feelings of inadequacy, again, compare and despair, and then dissatisfaction with your life, which makes you unhappy. So instead, let's redefine happiness. Focus on what your values are, what truly matters to you. Genuine happiness comes from living in alignment with yourself, with your values, with your goals, your just way, your integrity. It's being in integrity and also enjoying the moments of life, that because the little things are the big things, rather than try to fit some standard of what you're supposed to be, how you're supposed to look, what you're supposed to do, who you're supposed to be with, all of those ideas that we're told will bring us happiness, but don't. I once absolutely coveted this old car. I thought that the Mercedes 280 SL from, I don't know, it's like 50 years old or something. But I thought it was the most beautiful car in the world when I was a kid. I don't even know how I got into cars, but I just thought it was a beautiful car in the world. And I just imagined like the life that would go with that car. Like if I could drive a 1970 Mercedes 280 SL, I would be happy. It would be fabulous. I was somewhat of a shallow teenager. I'm admitting that. Many years later, my boyfriend like rented that very car for me. And at first I was like, oh, this is so great. I'm driving my dream car. I'm going to feel great. And then I just got in and it was an old car. And I was just like, oh, the fantasy was the thing. The reality is it's just an old car and I don't barely know how to drive it. I think it was, I don't know if it was a stick shift or whatever, but it was like, it was an old, difficult to drive car and it did not feel the way I thought it would feel. And that's pretty much the way that things are when you think, oh, I'm going to feel this way when I have that, or when I do that, or when I go here, I'm going to have that feeling. No, feeling comes from within. So start letting go of those misconceptions and understand that happiness is a dynamic, evolving process rather than a static achievement. And when you do happiness boosting things and you cultivate a kinder relationship with ourselves, because often the way we relate to ourselves is not happiness inducing. We attack ourselves, we shame ourselves, and then it's like, what's in the kitchen? Let me get away from this feeling. Let me get away from my own mean voice. And by shifting your mindset, you really open the door to a more fulfilling and authentic sense of joy that you could have just at any time. Yes, things happen in life, but when you have an overall sense of well-being about yourself, about your life, about being in the world, and the small things, which are the big things, when you can enjoy those, guess what? You're going to be a lot happier. And it sounds great, right? But it's hard to get there. I'm not saying it's easy. It's really also discovering your purpose. What makes you happy? What makes you feel fulfilled? What makes you, and that doesn't necessarily mean an achievement, right? What makes you happy? So that is what happiness isn't and what it is. And so for those of you who are on Instagram, let me know what are your thoughts about happiness? How have I just challenged you as far as the idea of what makes you happy, or how are you embracing happiness? I would love to know. Please drop a comment. So let's just talk about also the role of self-care and boundaries in happiness. So when we go through life, and life is crazy, it's hectic, it's busy, or it's boring, it's one of the two extremes, all of that. We feel a certain way. We often feel stressed or sad or upset or what have you. And then that can trigger binge eating, which is why making sure that you have self-care in place and boundaries with other people to protect yourself, to protect your mood, to protect you. Otherwise, you find yourself saying yes to other people when you want to say no. It does not make you happy to say yes when you want to say no. And then, of course, if you say no, then you might feel guilty. So that's why learning to set boundaries and how that relates to self-care is so important. Self-care is not pampering yourself with a spa day and, having a bubble bath with a beautiful candle on it, which, that's lovely. But that is not the only part of self-care. That can be a part of self-care. It's enjoyable, it's beneficial, but that is not what I'm talking about when I'm talking about self-care. If you're a longtime listener to the show, or you listened to my last show on LA Talk Radio, you've probably heard me talk about the queen of self-care. The queen of self-care, who said to me that she did not know why she was still binging and why she was still so unhappy, because she was the queen of self-care. That is how she put it. I'm the queen of self-care, so why am I still feeling this way? And I asked her what made her, your worship, what makes you the queen of self-care? I didn't say it, I just thought it. Okay. And she said, well, she's like, she gets, her blowouts every week. She gets mani-pedis. She gets massages. She gets, all the things, acupuncture, whatever it is, anything you could think of, she was getting it. And I said, well, that's not self-care. That's grooming, not the acupuncture part, but everything else: hair, nails, massage, facials. She's like, I'm the queen of self-care. I said, that is grooming. It is not self-care. And she said, what do you mean? And I said, well, that's not the self I'm talking about. And she said, what other self is there? So for her, the only self that she could conceive of was her physical self. And so she wasn't happy because she was taking care of her physical self, very good care of her physical self, I might add. But she wasn't taking care of her inside self, her thoughts, her feelings, she wasn't considering what made her happy. She was really just considering what made her pretty, So self-care really at its core, it means nurturing and caring for your, yes, physical, but also emotional and mental well-being, relational well-being, creative well-being, if that's what you're into, spiritual well-being, if that's what you're into, like all the different parts of you that need to be nurtured. So think about, if you think that you're taking care of yourself, what self are you taking care of? Because when we also nurture our minds, our relationships, think about what makes us happy and take care of that, then things really do change. All right. And here's something that might sound a little bit weird when it comes to a show about how to cultivate a happiness mindset. Here's why you need to feel unhappy to know that you can feel happy. Oh, self-care. So on Instagram, Melange, I'm sorry, I am butchering your name. Apologies. Self-care for me the past few months has been more about going to therapy and seeing a dietitian. That is great. You are nurturing your mind and your emotions. And of course, therapy is an incredibly nurturing, intimate relationship in a formal setting where you can feel so truly known and understood. So I am so glad that you are doing that for yourself and seeing a dietitian who can guide you and help you and be there for you. So yes, that is self-care. I love that. More of that, please. Along with facials, if that's your thing. But we really need to attend to our inside selves and take care of ourselves. Because often, and I find this after 20 plus years of working with people with eating disorders, and binge eating disorder is the most prevalent eating disorder that most people don't even realize they have. They think they have no willpower. They think they have no control. They think they're food addicts, whatever. No, they don't realize that they have a diagnosable, treatable, underline, emphasis, highlight, treatable condition, coping strategy that they can create lasting change. That's why I talk about liberation. This is not something you have to deal with the rest of your life. My binge cure method, people are like, you can't say cure. Oh, yes, I can, because I believe in the cure. I believe that you do, and I don't just believe in it. I live it. I'm living proof of it. So are so many of my patients and clients who have binge eating in their rear view mirror. You do not have to deal with this for the rest of your life. Okay, so happiness and unhappiness are often seen as like two sides of the same coin. So to truly appreciate happiness, you have to have experienced unhappiness. It's kind of like, well, how do you know that there's a hill if there's not a valley, or there's not a flat ground? How do you know if there's a hill? You need both to see what you see. So you have to have contrast, in other words. You have to know what it feels like to be unhappy to recognize when you are happy. So experiencing unhappiness is actually a reference point. Like you need it. You need to know what that is so that you can appreciate when you feel happy and good. And without moments of sadness and frustration, disappointment, anger, whatever it is, annoyance, rage, despair, it would be very challenging to identify and appreciate the moments of joy, of contentment, satisfaction, well-being. We need the unhappy to see the happy. So the lows actually make the highs more noticeable and meaningful. Can appreciate it. So also, when you're unhappy, it can be a catalyst. It can really facilitate a sense of, okay, enough is enough. I really want to take control of my life and my well-being and look at how I can create a different mindset to feel better in the world. And by the way, I am not talking about, when I talk about unhappiness, I am not talking about depression, major depression. I am not saying you can talk your way out of major depression, although there are studies that show that talk therapy is just as efficacious as medication. I'm not sure I actually believe that. I'm all in favor of medication, especially ketamine, by the way. Ketamine for ketamine therapy for depression and anxiety. I have found it extremely helpful. It can get you to the point where you can then talk about whatever is going on and process it and work through it. So I'm not saying, hey, unhappiness and depression are the same thing. Obviously, when you're depressed, especially chronic depression, especially when it's a really more brain-based depression, you need to have some kind of medical intervention. It is so important. But I am talking about unhappiness as a worldview, as in the cup is always half empty, as in, 10 amazing things happen to you and the one bad thing happens and that's all you can focus on. That's mindset. And that leads to unhappiness that you can change because you got to change the way you think. So when you're unhappy, if you are open to it, unhappiness is really an opportunity. It is an opportunity to reflect on your life, your choices, your mindset, your values, and what you really want in your life. And that introspection can then lead you to take action and go to therapy, be able to recognize, like, what are the thoughts that are keeping you stuck? Listen to my show every week, all of that. Now, back to binge eating for a moment. It is a coping strategy to deal with unhappiness. We'll deal with anything uncomfortable, but it really is a way of dealing with unhappiness. So when people are faced with sadness, loneliness, stress, whatever it is that is difficult, making you unhappy, painful, upsetting, you might turn to food to numb, escape, cope. As I was saying earlier, fill a void if you're lonely. Loneliness can feel like emptiness. Emptiness can be filled with food. So binging is a way of coping with difficult, painful feelings. But then what happens? You beat yourself up. Oh my God, I can't believe I did that. This is disgusting. And people knew. They'd be horrified. Oh, I hate myself. I hate my life. And you feel terrible. Now you feel even worse. And then what do? You can't beat yourself up and make yourself feel better at the same time. So you beat yourself up with your words, say a bunch of nasty things to yourself, and head to the kitchen. So what's the answer? How do you get to happiness? Is by creating a different way of responding to yourself. And that means being curious, not critical. If you're critical, you just say all the nasty things I just said. When you're curious, it's, what's going on with me? Why did I just go to the kitchen? What's going on with me? What's happening? And when you're curious, you can find answers. And when you find answers, then you have something to deal with. And now you can go, okay, I did it because I was feeling lonely or I was feeling anxious. What would I say to a friend who was anxious? Would I say, oh my God, you're anxious? Go to the kitchen now and eat everything you see. No, I would say something kind to my friend. So I'm going to talk more about that when we come back from the break. So what time is it? Yes, I'm on break, right? I think I'm on break. All right. I'm on break on Voice America, but I am here with you on Instagram. If you have any comments, any questions, if there's anything you would like to share, now is the time. And when I come back from break, I will be talking more about how to get happy, practical techniques for developing self-acceptance, self-compassion, self-love, which of course makes you happy. All right. Sorry, guys, on Instagram, I'm not sure what's happening. I think I'm on break. Oh, we're clear?
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, well.
Okay. Hello on Instagram. While I'm waiting, I have 2 minutes before I go back on air. If you have questions, please. I see some familiar faces. Hi, Randy. How are you doing today? Let me know what is going on with you, what makes you happy, what makes you unhappy. I am here to answer any questions that you may have. Everyone's shy. Don't be shy. Tell me where you are in the world. Forget going deep. Where are you in the world? Drop a comment. Where in the world are you? I am in Calabasas, Los Angeles, California. What about you? Okay. Everyone's in 30. Okay.
Back in 10.
Salvador.
Welcome back to the Binge Cure with Dr. Nina. Have questions for Dr. Nina? Join her on the show at 866-472-5792. That's 866-472-5792. Now back to the show.
Hi, welcome back to the Binge Cure with Dr. Nina. We are talking today about mastering the happiness mindset and how to go from binge eating to bliss. If you are listening on Instagram or watching on Instagram, please feel free to drop a comment. If you are on Voice America, you can give a call at 866-472-5792. And I love the comments I'm getting now. Listening from El Salvador. I'm so glad you love my book. I am so glad it changed your life. Oh, that makes me so happy. And from Jerusalem too. Wow. El Salvador and Jerusalem. This is amazing. I love it. Yay. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right. So today, again, we're talking about happiness and challenging the idea that losing weight or stopping binging will actually bring happiness, and looking at what does make you happy. What is happiness? And recognizing that it's not a static sense of being. It is an ever-changing state that we can create based on the way that we think about ourselves and the way we think about our lives and the way we think about other people. So by learning to accept and process difficult emotions, we stop using binge eating as a strategy. And that ultimately leads to a greater sense of emotional well-being, which is happiness. Now, learning to accept and process difficult emotions is, of course, easier said than done, because we live in a society that says, hey, don't have feelings. You're weak if you have feelings. You are strong if you can push them down, right? Well, actually, the opposite is true. You are strong if you can feel your feelings. But how do we feel our feelings when we're told that there's something wrong with it? But emotions are just reactions to situations. They are not character flaws. We're not weak if we have feelings. We're human. And if we don't have a way of managing our feelings, which are just reactions and just connect us to ourselves and to each other, what do? And that's where eating comes in often. It's, let me escape my mind. Let me comfort myself. So when you can be with yourself, be with your feelings, express them, that means give words to them. This making me sad because of this, or this is making me frustrated because of that, and it means this. Like really, really thinking and reflecting on what it is that's going on with you and why and what it means, and expressing that. So important. We often go right to, oh, it's not that bad. It could be worse. Other people have it worse. And what are we doing? We are totally dismissing our experience. And, your experience is your experience. If you drive a Rolls Royce and you live in Bel Air and you get rear-ended, guess what? You still have to deal with whiplash and dealing with the insurance company, or dealing with getting your car fixed and all of that. Yeah, is it a first world problem to have to fix your Rolls Royce in Bel Air? It is. Is it still obnoxious and a pain in the butt to have to deal with? It is. Right? It is. Your problems are your problem. That's an extreme example. I'm not sure it was the best example, but anyway, your problems are your problems. Your challenges are your challenges, and they need your attention, not your condemnation. Too often we minimize. Oh, it wasn't so bad. It could have been worse. I got to look on the bright side. We try to positive think away our emotions. And there is nothing wrong with positive thinking or being positive, but there is something wrong with weaponizing positivity or minimizing your experience because it is dismissive of how you feel. And then if you do that, you cannot positive think away your feelings. You cannot gratitude them away any more that you can drop them, ignore them, or stuff them down. The only way to get rid of feelings is to feel them, and then you feel better, which makes you happier. And that actually creates emotional resilience. Emotional resilience is built through re-experiencing and overcoming difficult situations and the emotions that come from those situations. And that leads you to knowing that you can handle challenges really effectively, and you can maintain that positive, overall positive mindset, ironically. Right? When you say, oh, it could be worse, I shouldn't feel this way, you're dismissing yourself. But when you say, you know what, this was really hard, this was really painful, this was upsetting, this is frustrating, of course it was, how could it not be? Oh my goodness, whatever it is, of course it is. Of course I feel this way. And I'm going to make my way through this. I'm going to feel better. Yes, it could be better. It could be worse, but I'm still going to acknowledge what's going on with me. I'm here for myself, and that is what makes you feel better. And over time, the more that you make yourself feel better instead of feeling worse, the less you're going to binge and the happier you will be. Not because of the absence of binging, but because of the presence of being a kinder, comforting, supportive, encouraging person for yourself. So that is really important. How we respond to ourselves makes all the difference between whether you're happy or unhappy. If you make a mistake, for example, and who hasn't made a mistake? We make a mistake all the time. But if you make a mistake and you say, oh my God, I made a mistake. Oh, I suck. I'm never going to get anywhere in life. I can't believe I did that. And you just start having this dialogue of disparagement. You're going to feel terrible. You're going to feel terrible. By the way, if a friend makes a mistake or a child makes a mistake or someone you love makes a mistake or someone you even like makes a mistake, would you be like, oh my God, you made a mistake. You suck. I think differently of you completely now. You're not as good as I thought. No, you say, it's a mistake. Okay. You what can you learn from it? It's all right. It doesn't reflect on you. How about you show up for yourself in the same way? And that way, instead of tearing yourself down, you're encouraging yourself when you make a mistake. You're just reassuring yourself. You're acknowledging and validating whatever. Guess what? You're not going to tear yourself down and make yourself unhappy. You're just going to be neutral. Okay, kind of sucks, but what can I learn from it? I'll try not to make this mistake again. Or it doesn't even have to be mistakes. It's anything where you start attacking yourself. If there's anything I can tell you in over 2 decades of treating people with eating disorders, exclusively with one exception, but her daughter had an eating disorder, is this. Everybody has different lives, different experiences, and I am talking about men, women, people of all ages, all genders, all ethnicities. There are 2 things they have in common. One, they're scared of emotions. A lot of people are scared of emotions. And 2, they attack themselves when they need to support themselves the most, which of course leads to the eating disorder behavior. So how do you develop more self-acceptance, more self-compassion, more self-love, so that you can respond to yourself nicely and feel happier? Well, understand that self-acceptance is the foundation of self-compassion and self-love. I actually like self-acceptance the best because self-love is like I love myself, which it sounds great and all, but I'm not even sure what it really means. I like self-acceptance because to me, it encompasses self-love, right? It's like self-acceptance is, hey, there are things I love about me and things maybe not so much. But I accept myself in totality. And what do you feel when you say something like that? You don't feel bad. You feel actually good. So you don't have to be perfect to be likable, lovable, happy. You just have to be in that place of self-acceptance. And that means, really challenging some of the ideas that you have about yourself. I hear many people say, well, I'm not good enough. What does that even mean? And I'll say to them, what's good enough? I don't know. Well, if you don't know what it is, then how do you know you're not good enough? And how will you know when you get there? If you're not, then how do you know what good enough is? If you can't define it, how do you know that when you're there? It's like saying, I want to go to Washington, D.C., but I have no idea what it looks like. I have no idea where it is. I have no idea how I'll know when I'm there. I don't know. Like how, then you could be standing in front of the White House and go, where am I? Okay, one of my weirder analogies. I know. I come up with weird analogies, but hopefully they make sense. So you got to know, like, what is it that is good enough? If you're telling yourself you're not good enough and that thus feeling unhappy, what is good enough? Define it. And is there a good enough for you that's different from the good enough for other people? Why? Where did you learn? Where did you learn this? By the way, Kristen Neff, who is a Dr. Kristen Neff, who's an expert in self-compassion, she recommends what she calls a self-compassion break. And that's when you take a moment. You're really stressed out. You're really hard on yourself. You're really feeling bad about yourself. You just take a moment and you say, suffering is a part of life. This is what she recommends. Suffering is a part of life. I'm going to be kind to myself. Just take that break. And I think suffering is kind of an intense term, but maybe that's the point. If we don't know when we're suffering, how do we know when we're happy? But also, it's like, yeah, suffering is a part of life, but it is something that you will not be stuck in. Just like you won't be stuck in happiness. You won't just be happy forever, no matter what. Neither will you be upset forever. Neither will you be frustrated or down on yourself forever. Mark Twain, who I love Mark Twain. He has the best quotes. This maybe is not one of them, but it comes to mind because of the point I'm about to make, which is that there was this really rainy period of time. It just rained and rained and rained for like 100 days. And someone said to Mark Twain, will it ever stop raining? And he said, it always does. And that's true. Pain always ends. So to remember that if you are unhappy, you will not stay unhappy. But the way that you deal with your unhappiness, the way that you respond to yourself in those moments, that can either make you more unhappy or it can make you feel better. So really validating and acknowledging difficult times and being encouraging and kind to yourself makes all the difference. And also just doing things you love. Don't wait until you are at a certain weight to do the things you love. There was a woman in one of my groups, and she really wanted to get married and have a baby. And I think she was in her mid to late 30s at the time. And she said, nope, I can't do it until I lose, 30 pounds, whatever it was. Can't do it. Well, so what did she do? She had a relationship with food instead. And I challenged her to go and try going on a date. You don't have to lose weight. to go on a date. You gotta like go on a date. Just go on a date at your weight. So she did. She went on a few dates and she realized that her weight was not the primary factor for anything. And you know what? She ended up getting this amazing boyfriend and they're going to have a baby. So there you have it. And you know what? She did not lose all the weight that she wanted to lose. She did not. And then she had to go on medication, which made her gain weight. So here she is thinking she had to put off her life, put off her happiness, put off her well-being until she got to some magical weight on the scale that would be the green light for now I can live my life. And instead, she went and lived her life. So don't wait to be thinner or to stop binging to develop an appetite for life. Develop an appetite for life. That will bring you happiness. And you will stop binging because when we're doing things we love, when we're nice to ourselves, when we're responsive and kind to ourselves, guess what? We don't need food for escape, for comfort, for any of the things. We're giving ourselves comfort words instead of comfort food. So really doing things that you love and having fun, that makes you happy too. Whatever it is that you love. And don't judge what it is that you love. I hear that a lot too. People like, well, I really want to crochet, but is that like dorky? I don't know. What's dorky? Do you really want to crochet? Crochet. Okay, in full disclosure, it was a dude who was saying, this dude, his wife crocheted, and he's like, I want to do that. And he did. He learned to crochet and he loves it. When he stopped going like, oh my God, if my friends knew that I was crocheting. And one day he's just like, you know what? I made a scarf. Have you made a scarf? No. It made him happy. And so he could watch TV and do something he was into, crochet a scarf. When he was doing that, he was having fun. He was doing something he liked. He was, he wasn't mindlessly eating chips like he used to before while watching TV. Now he's just doing something that he really likes. So if you like it, and it doesn't hurt anybody, it doesn't hurt you, do it. You'll be happier. Also, people and social support, the right people. It has to be the right people. When you connect with people who are there for you, who get it, who don't try to talk you out of your feelings, by the way, and tell you how it could be worse and look on the bright side and all that, people can just really listen and say, oh, I am so sorry, or celebrate you when you're happy. That makes you feel less lonely, less isolated, connected. By the way, some people can be unpredictable, unavailable, unreliable. Food, unlike people, is predictable, reliable, and available. So if you're turning to food instead of to people, reevaluate the people in your life. Are they people who can be there for you, or are they people that you're not giving a chance to be there for you? There are two ways we experience people as, unpredictable, unavailable, or unreliable. One is we pick unavailable, unpredictable, or unreliable people if that's what we're used to in our past or in our childhood. We pick them. Like, oh, you're familiar. What familiar feels right? Yes, I pick you. My father was so critical of me. You're critical of me. Why, you must know me well. All right. So that's one way that we replicate the past. The other way is when we perceive people not as they are, but as other people were. So you had the critical parent, you're with friends or a loved one who's lovely and nurturing and reassuring, but you keep casting them as, oh, they're probably thinking some critical thought. Or I bet if I just do this or that, then they're going to be critical of me. Then they're suddenly they're going to see me with new eyes, and now they're going to critique me. So those are the two ways that we recreate traumatic relationships. And so ask yourself, are the people in your life really thinking the things you think that they are thinking? Look at how they've treated you. Look at how they really are. And then take a chance, because when we have fulfilling, satisfying relationships with other people, we don't need to have satisfaction and fulfillment symbolically with food. People are important. By the way, if you would like to join an amazing Facebook community of people all over the world who get it, who are involved more or less with my Binge Cure method, please join Dr. Nina's Food for Thought community. Um, you can find it in a search on Facebook, and I would welcome you there, because it really is so important to feel known, understood, and supported by yourself and by other people. That makes us happy, right? Being supportive of ourselves makes us happy. Being supported and understood by others makes us happy. Now, here are some ways to strengthen your relationships so that we can turn to people instead of to food, stop binging, stop emotional eating, stop stress eating, and feel happier. One is to be really present and engaged. So give someone your full attention. Full attention. That means put away your phone, keep eye contact, actively listen, and let other people do that for you too. Because when we're kind of on our phone and we're kind of talking and we're kind of doing, we're not really engaged, we're not really connecting. And we need to fully connect to feel fulfilled. And also, take a chance and share. If you're one of those people who is just there for everybody else, and everybody else tells you their problems, confides in you, turns to you for help, and you're that person who's like, oh, I got you. I can help. I can do it. All of that. Then you're giving and giving and giving and giving. You're taking care of everybody else, and food may be taking care of you. Not good. No bueno. Not good at all. Instead, take a risk, share something with someone else. If you're afraid that you are going to burden them or be too much for them, or they're going to be annoyed with you, take a risk. Aim for mutuality, because relationships make you happy when they're mutual, when there's both give and receive on both sides, instead of just you give, they take. That is not a healthy relationship. That will leave you empty and lonely. And the worst loneliness is when you feel it with other people, isn't it? It's the worst. And create shared experiences, shared memories when people are safer and you do things together and you can laugh about it later and remember when this happened, or, oh my gosh, can you believe we survived that? Or whatever it is, whether it's traveling or going to a concert or watching a movie or walking or talking or just whatever it is, sharing your soul, reading the same book and talking about it, whatever it is, connecting with other people, that's fulfilling. Fulfilling is happiness. And again, like I said before, really be brave and be vulnerable, because when we are vulnerable, it lets other people know us and show up for us, as well as us showing up for them when they are vulnerable. Relationships are a two-way street. So letting other people be there for you, it builds trust. It builds it builds the bond. And last, another way to cultivate happiness is find purpose and passion in your life. I love the book by Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning. This is a man who survived the Holocaust and looked at, why did some people survive it, not just physically, but mentally? Why did some people survive the Holocaust, survive concentration camps, and went on and led happy lives? And why did others become embittered? Or why, even in the camps, did some die and some lived. And he found that a lot has to do with the our ability to make meaning and purpose, find purpose in our lives. So, especially during challenging times, when you have a sense of purpose, um, it makes life more bearable when it's tough. So, when you have meaning in what you do, that makes you happy. When you find meaning in your relationships, that makes you happy. It gives you a sense of well-being. So, those are just, I got lots more to say, but not enough time because we are almost out of time. I also talked about boundaries. Boundaries, they are the invisible lines that protect you. They protect your space, your time, they protect you. And when you have boundaries, that means that you are not going to be filled with resentment for people who cross your boundaries. And if you can't support yourself when you say no, if you say, I shouldn't have said no, oh my God, I hurt their feelings. Now you're going to feel bad. You're not going to be happy about it. You're going to be mad at yourself or mad at them, unhappy, food. So setting boundaries is something that you are doing for yourself, not against other people. So happiness, it is a mindset, and developing that mindset is a journey. It is not a destination. And it is about gradually shifting your perspective, cultivating a different relationship with yourself, self-acceptance, which means accepting the things that you don't so much love about yourself, but you're working on. That makes you feel happy. And having meaning in your life, meaning and purpose, meaningful relationships, meaningful, just meaning in your life, whatever that is for yourself. It is so, so, so important. And last, I just want to share with you because so I created an adult coloring book, a second adult coloring book. Here it is. Color Yourself Happy. Color Yourself Happy is my new coloring book, a motivational and inspirational coloring book to inspire self-love. And what I thought I'd have more time and that I could share some of the thoughts in here. Some of them are things that I say a lot that to help you remember. This is when I say a lot. I did not come up with it, but real people aren't perfect, and perfect people aren't real. So remember that, and so that you can be happy with your perfectly imperfect self. And if you want to get a copy of this coloring book, it is available on Amazon. You can also reach out to me and I'll give you the link to get it. But just stay curious, not critical. And that is a surefire approach to creating happiness on a daily basis. And that is our show for today. Thank you so much for joining me on the Dr. Nina Show. I'm here live on Voice America every Thursday at noon and live streaming on Instagram. And of course, you can get Color Yourself Happy on Amazon, or where's my other book? I can't find my other books. But if you want a deeper dive, please check out the Binge Cure 7 Steps to Outsmart Emotional Eating, available on Amazon. And be kind to yourself. Have a great week. I'll see you next week. Bye for now.
Wonderful job. All clear.
Thank you.
Hope you have a great rest of your day.
You as well. Bye
Thank
for
you.
now.
Bye.